Today, we will recap UFC 302, discuss why the bonuses shouldn't be given to the main event fighters, and talk about the breaking news of UFC 303 press conference getting canceled. So, what are we waiting for? Tim, hit it! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fight Insight Podcast.
I mean, you'll have just recorded that intro after we film this, so I don't know whether we end up getting stiffed by our guest or whether he actually shows up, so I don't know how to start this intro. He's not looked at the message that I've sent him yet, Rain. But welcome back. Off the heels of UFC 302.
Woo!
We've got some stuff to talk about, obviously. First thing first, Basel the Habibi Hafez.
Congratulations! Woo!
Fight of the night. If I had my way, Rain, that was fight of the night. It is absolute travesty that Basel did not get a bonus for that fight. That was and Mickey Gall. I do want to say, holy cow, did both of those guys put everything on the line. They're both coming off long layoffs. The crowd was pumped. It was in the early prelims. They had the crowd on their feet. That was a fantastic fight by Basel, our friend. So congratulations to him.
I know. And to think that it was in the prelims, right? When you were watching it, yeah. It's like, I was watching it and I was like, are we still in the prelims? It's crazy as to how Basel and Mickey kind of went at it. Oh, man. I in Basel's interview after the fight, I thought it was the best interview I've ever heard post-fight. It's amazing, and I'm glad he had that opportunity, because remember when he was with us, like last week or 2 weeks ago, he mentioned that he would really love to speak up if he does get that opportunity to have that interview after his fight. Yeah,
you know what really pisses me off, Rain, is that you go online and you always see like where people will post the post-fight speeches, especially when they're motivational, such as Basel's, right? So I go and make a reel, you saw it, of like he was talking to us, saying how he was going to talk about that issue, and then I cut into the thing, and stupid Instagram keeps booting it out, saying that it's illegal. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I've messed around with it a little bit more to try and get it, so I'll try to post it tonight. But I'm going to post, or I did post this on our Instagram, Rain, and I'm going to show this picture here. I've said this for a long time, Rain. The main event fighters should not be eligible for performance of the night bonuses. For UFC 302, the $50,000 went to Islam and Dustin for fight of the night. Performance of the night, Islam and Kevin Holland. That is absolute garbage, Rain. You know where I stand on this. Your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it's kind of not fair, you know. I feel like the main event fighters, they always get the spotlight. They always get the money, the most money out of the fights, right? So I feel like the fight of the night, performance of the night, I feel like that's something that the other fighters, other bouts in the card, especially the prelims one, especially when the fighters in the prelim cards did their best to wow the crowd. I think they deserve those bonuses more.
Rain, this is a miraculous moment where we actually agree on something on the show. But you said everything that I've been saying to people that were arguing with me, because they go, well, if they put on the good show, they put on the good show. Like you said, they get all the advertisement and focus leading up to the event. So sponsors, blah, 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 they're getting all that. They normally have something to fight for. If you're in the main event, you're normally fighting for a title or for a number one contender spot, something high.
There's something already.
You're probably, if it's a pay-per-view, you're getting pay-per-view points on top of your contracted amount. I would think that even if it's on a UFC fight night, I would think that if you're the main event, you're probably going to negotiate a little bit more money than what your normal contract states. And if you think about how much money the main event people normally make, we're talking $1 million plus, right? Like a guy like Islam's got to be making over $1 million. 50,000 to him
is nothing.
I mean, it's not nothing, but it's so small in percentage. Whereas to someone like, let's say Basil Hafez, I have no clue what his contract states. It could be 100% of his purse. If he was fighting for 25 and 25 and he gets an extra 50, even if he was fighting on a 50 plus 50 contract, that's still another 50,000, 50% more. It means so much more to the younger fighters or to the ones lower on the card. Performance of the night, Dana White, no longer should we be giving this to main event fight. And don't double it up. This is so bullshit, the doubling up thing. I hate that too. If you get fight of the night, why do you get the performance of the night? Nonsense.
Yeah. I guess like for me, being a part of the main event, that already gives you the spotlight, right? So I think if you get the fight of the night, that's like, if someone hears about it, oh God, that's the fight of the night. I didn't even get to see that fight. Oh, it was in the prelims. Oh, let me go check it out. Oh, I've never heard of Basil Fez. Oh God, this guy won this bout. Oh man, he deserves that fight of the night. So I feel like, if it's not taking away from, Islam and Dustin, right? Let's just say, their fight was not eligible for a fight of the night, performance of the night. It's not taking away anything from that fight if they're not eligible to get those. They did a hell of a fight. They had an amazing performance. Yeah. The fact that they had the main event spot, that says a lot. And honestly, they deserved it because of the fight that they put up. But I just think that it's giving more opportunities for other fighters, and at the same time, it makes other fighters more hungry, right? Like, hey, you know what? This time, I'm not yet in the main card. I'm not yet in the main event. But hey, I got that fight of the night.
Yeah.
One day I'll make it to the main event.
But they say and they say that the bonus is often meant to encourage more finishes, to encourage blah blah blah. Right? Like, it's meant to be that added incentive. The guys in the main event don't need an added incentive. They're already fighting for something very important 99% of the time. You know what I mean? It's normally for a title or a number one contender spot, something. They already have all the reason in the world to do well.
Yeah.
So it's funny because so I'm saying Basil Hafez versus Mickey Gall was an instant classic, crazy fight. If you did not watch it because maybe you don't have UFC Fight Pass or whatever, maybe you didn't get to see it, go watch it. And I love your point, Rain. If you gave that fight of the night, people would now go seek it out, because here's a guy on our Instagram that responded to that meme that I just put up, right? That beautiful, beautiful meme. So this guy says, I agree, but for 302, no one on the prelims deserved anything. This
but did you watch it?
Yeah, he didn't watch it. I mean, there's no way. So that's what I responded. I'm going, did you watch the early prelims? Did you watch Gall versus Hafez? There's no way you watch that fight and don't think that was either fight of the night or that at least Basil deserved a performance of the night. For getting clocked, those two guys ate so many shots. I was freaking out. I mean, I thought Mickey's nose was going to fall off at one point because, I mean, Basil hit it so hard. And then Basil's neck, like, just snapping at some of the shots that he took. I don't know. But yeah, Rain, I think that people don't watch it. And I think that is the new rule that needs to come into play. UFC 302, I also want to talk about this. The scorecard controversy, Rain. You know about this?
I mean, I kind of heard something about it, but yeah, go ahead.
The score in question is the one that was for Paulo Costa in the co-main. So this is, I mean, me no count gooder is the title of this part of our show here. The scorecard on the right by Dave Torelli scores the fight 49-46 for Costa, giving him all but the final round. Rain, did you watch the co-main?
I did. So that's why I was. Yeah.
Who did you score it for?
Who did I think
won the fight?
Oh, I thought it was Sean Strickland, unanimous. That's what I
But
thought.
how many rounds did you give Sean? Did you keep track of it that much, or were you just like, well, it's clear Sean won?
I mean, the thing is, it's like I was kind of watching it at first, and up close, and then when I felt like, okay, this is already Sean's fight. So like the last 2 rounds, I was kind of just like glancing a little bit, mostly because I was at work.
But that means you thought he won the first 3.
Yes. Well, the thing is, to me, I just thought that Sean was really dominant, in this bout. So I felt like towards like the 4th, I was like, okay, I don't know. I think this is going to be Sean's going to win this fight. And then when Bruce announced the winner, I was like, oh God, this is going to be a split decision.
Yeah.
I was shocked. And I saw Sean's reaction.
Insane.
He was surprised too.
Yeah. Dana White comes out and says that's the worst thing ever, that judge should never judge again. To be fair, I'm not too familiar with that name, Dave Torelli. He's not a name that I see all the time. But maybe he is. I don't know. But all I know is that he's not our good friend, Judge Mike Bell. But or Judge Chris Lieben. He's not any of those guys. But I mean, crazy scorecard rating. Because there's no freaking way you give Costa the first 4 rounds. I mean, that judge, really, that's a problem. I'll tell you, I used to train with a guy who's been a co-host of this show once before. His name is Jackson Curry. I used to train with that guy, and fighting him is exactly fighting Sean Strickland to a T. The guy is really tall. Like, he's taller than me. I think he's like 6'3" or whatever. And he would just constantly walk towards you. It's the most annoying thing on the planet. He just constantly walks at you. You're constantly backing up. You never have a chance to set your feet. Stupid teeps to my tummy. Hurts the crap out of me. And then those stupid just jabs to your face. It's the worst. And Paulo Costa could not deal with it in the slightest. He had no answer for it.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I think that's why, to me, if I had seen a lot more from Costa, like trying to at least, I mean, he tried to fight back, obviously, but it's to me, I felt like I wanted to see more, right? But I didn't see enough for me to feel like, oh God, this might be a split decision.
No, of course not. Yeah. And then what I thought was even fun, and Jackson, if you're watching this, I hate you, by the way. So, but
hi, Jackson, let's be friends.
Yeah. Paulo Costa was, I don't know where he was, on MMA Fighting. He is quoted as saying, I will bring back the old Paulo to take heads off, to finish the fights. I have the power, so I need to deliver that, and I will do it. I don't give a F points or conserving energy or F anything about that. Dude was not conserving energy. He was like, his mouth was open. He was gasping for air by the 2nd round. I think Joe Rogan was commentating on it. I will come to take heads off. This is who I am. This is the kind of fighter I am. I mean, he had a really bad night at the office.
Yeah.
But he's so damn handsome, Rain. So, I mean.
I know.
That was an immediate, very handsome response. Yeah. So, yeah. Well, so that's it. But so obviously you are excited to see Paulo Costa back.
Yeah, I was excited to see him back. I mean, I was excited to
see him again.
Oh, again. Yes, of course. Yeah. Like you said, I love how you said, oh, it's just like a bad day at the office. I think that's what happened to him, honestly. Yeah. But when it comes to the decision, I was basically, I had the same reaction as Sean when he reacted like, what? Split decision?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, great. Yeah, the way he looked at the crowd or whatever.
Yeah.
Shocked that was going to be it. What else happened at 302? Here's something that happened at 302. No surrender, Rain. No surrendering at all. And of course, we were talking about Donald Trump, hours after being convicted of charges or whatever, being found guilty of blah, blah, blah. He's in the arena.
I was shocked, actually.
The crowd eating it up. It is crazy, Rain, that the former president of the United States loves the sport so much. Mind you, Rain, there's no reason he is there aside from his love of the sport, right? The 30,000 meatheads in attendance, they're not going to swing the vote for him. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's there because he loves it and he goes out there and he's watching. And I thought I was dying laughing too, because at some points as the fights were going on, you could see him sitting cage side and you could see his head, like watching, like he's legit watching the fights.
You think he's ever had like sweat or like blood on him? Because I feel like he always sits close.
Yeah, of course. Why not? I mean, I just think it's so friggin' cool. Regardless, this is the thing too. Like, then I started looking online, and there were a lot of people complaining about it or saying whatever in their political views. It's like, do you not understand what he has done for the sport of MMA, right? Like, if you don't know, go research it and just see how he gave his Trump Plaza in Atlantic City to host events and blah, blah, back when the sport was brand new. He was there supporting it,
Oh, and that makes sense too, as to why he was actually there, because the 302 was in New Jersey.
Yeah, is that Atlantic City? Is that
I think so. I think Atlantic City is in New Jersey. Let me.
You're an American. You should get in trouble for not knowing that. I don't know, but
yeah, it's in New Jersey.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay, but yeah. So I mean, if you don't know the history, and Rain, so many people nowadays don't know the history of like UFC because all the the fans are getting newer and newer. So if you're some new guy and you don't understand, you're just like, wait, is this guy coming here because he wants my vote? Like, what's the deal? No, this guy loves the sport. And it's pretty freaking crazy that he's there at so many events. Like,
did he get there like before the start of the main event? I can't remember.
Oh yeah. No, I think he was there. Well, he was there for
the main card, right?
For the main card, yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, he was for sure there for the co-main, because after Sean Strickland won his fight, he jumped out of the cage to go take a selfie.
Yeah.
Which, as we learned from Dricus Duplessis, that's going to cost Sean about $10,000.
$10,000, yeah.
For jumping the cage.
Speaking of jumping the cage, did you see that after Islam won, there was a guy, I think, that got taken out by security?
Yeah.
Because he did the same thing, but going into the cage.
Yes. Do you know who that was?
No. Who was it?
Oh, it's a Bellator fighter. It's one of his friends.
Oh, okay.
It's I want to say Umar Nurmagomedov or something. It's a fighter. He's part of the camp. It wasn't just some random idiot.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's a Bellator guy, so nobody cares about him. So that's
okay. Because I remember just seeing security grabbing this guy, taking him out of the cage, and I was like, "Is that Conor?" Okay.
I noticed it too. The commentators didn't say anything about it, because I think when that kind of stuff happens, you got to not draw attention to it. But then afterwards, I looked it up, or it came across my newsfeed, and it's Umar Nurmagomedov or whatever.
Okay.
One of the Dagestani guys, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. So anyways, that's funny. So the Trump thing, that's crazy. Before we go on with a few more things, this might be a quick episode because our guest has still not seen my message. He saw it on last week, saw it on Friday. He knew all about it. His last message to me. Got it.
That's awesome.
4 of these guys. But he's not here yet. Anyways, Rain, let's look at Friends of the Podcast update. What do we have for Friends of the Podcast? Of course, Basil Hafez with his victory. Jake Matthews, former guest of the podcast, also secured a victory. So Fight Insight went 2-0. I won big money on my bet because I always bet on all our guests. So I won on the parlay. Yeah. The gentleman, Josh Hill. He's a Canadian fighter. He is a former Bellator fighter who kind of got screwed in the transition as well with PFL. Mm-hmm. They kind of released him. He didn't really know what was happening. He's a great guy, great Canadian fighter. He's also a manager for Canadian talent with Sucker Punch Entertainment. So he's transitioning into that.
Oh, okay.
I've seen him at Fight League Atlantic. He was there with 2 of his fighters at the last event. So I met Josh in person. He has signed, Rain, with Octagon MMA.
What? Is that the same promotion where
as our good friend? Yeah.
I'm trying to
to
think of his name. Oh my god. I know who I'm talking about though.
Marcus. No. Why am I forgetting the name now? I gotta edit this out.
Dennis the Menace Frimpong.
Frimpong! I said it first. Dennis the Menace Frimpong. Yeah, so Octagon. So anyways, Josh Hill is signed there. So I'm very happy for him. And right away when he signs, other fighters start calling him out. So because the guy's got a name, he's going to bring a name there, right? So I'm very happy for that. So gentleman Josh Hill, I'm very happy that he's got a fight. He's going to be coming on our podcast soon. He's actually training in Thailand right now.
Ooh.
He's a guy who we had on the podcast back during the pandemic. Of course, the podcast started during the pandemic, but he was on because he was talking about the BS about the government and how they were shutting down fighters from not being able to fight in Canada. Josh Hill, always a guy that will speak his mind, which I love about him. So I want him to come on to talk about all the garbage that's going on with Bellator. And he will do that. We just got to find time once he comes back from Thailand. So I'm very excited for Josh Hill. And then this weekend coming up, we've got Ricky Hadouken Tercios, former The Ultimate Fighter winner and former guest of the podcast. He's fighting this weekend against that 18-year-old, 19-year-old kid, Raul Rosas Jr. Rain, we pray to whatever God you want, all of them, as many as possible, that Ricky wins his fight.
Yeah, of course.
I love freaking Ricky Tercios. He's half Filipino, so you love him. Might be related.
Half Filipino, so I'm already biased.
So yeah. So hopefully Ricky wins. Then we'll get him back on the podcast. And what else do I got? I think just that Rageworks Podcast Network. Of course, check them out for other audio podcasts like ours.
And let's not forget FLA 16, right?
FLA 16. Oh, thank you, Rain. Thank you for leading into that.
This weekend.
I will be commentating at Fight League Atlantic 15.
15. I said 16.
You know what's the problem? Because UNF is at 19.
We're at 19.
FLA is at 15. Yeah. So we're a little bit off. Okay, let's do this again. Fight League Atlantic 15, June 8th. Get your tickets now. We're at the Zatzman Sportsplex in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. We are going to be there June 8th. 11 incredible fights from athletes around Canada. Kicked off. No. Reset again. Bzz. Fight League Atlantic 15, June 8th. Dartmouth, Nova Scotia in the Zatzman Sportsplex. I'm going to be commentating. I'm also going to be hosting the weigh-ins live on YouTube on Friday. Come on over, support me. Go check out fightleagueatlantic.com to get your tickets to the event. If you can't be there in person, go to fightleagueatlantic.com to watch the pay-per-view. 11 incredible fights. The main event, our guest last week, Chris, the Greek assassin Kalidas. He fights his retirement fight, former UFC veteran. He will be there. I can't wait, Rain. This is going to be an incredible event. I'm very, very excited. Hunter Savage is on the card. We've seen him before. Sam Rhino is going to be there with his crash of rhinos. It's going to be an incredible event. I cannot wait to see it there. Also, what's interesting is there is a super fan of all Canadian MMA, but she's definitely a super fan for Fight League Atlantic. She's going to be out there. She normally goes out to a bunch of the events, but ever since I've been going, she hasn't gone. I don't think it's personal against me, but she will be there for this event. So I'm finally going to get to meet her.
Is it Capricciosa?
What's that?
Capricciosa? Is that her? Yeah. You talking about her? Oh, yeah. We follow each other on Instagram.
Oh, Filipino.
Mm-hmm. Okay. If you're Filipino, follow me on Instagram at Ringside Ray.
All of the Filipinos. Have some halo and watch Fight League Atlantic. Yeah. So she's going to be there. I'm very excited, because she's like a super fan and that's kind of cool. So I'm going to get to meet her. I've obviously chatted with her so many times on Instagram. Anyways, fantastic event. Can't wait. I'm very, very excited to go out there. This week, by the time this airs, I will be in the air flying out there. So Very exciting. And my wife will be coming with me, Rain.
That's awesome.
I admit I'm a little bit nervous that she'll be in there for the live weigh-ins. Like if I
Oh.
see her. Did your husband, can you see your husband when you're commentating or when you're doing your announcing? Can you see him? Do you ever lock up?
Sometimes it depends on where he's sitting.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do see him, sometimes no.
No
Um,
nerves?
hmm?
No nerves if you see
When I
hubby?
see him, no. Honestly, if I do see him, honestly, I feel more comfortable. Like I feel more like, oh,
Oh,
okay.
I should have said
Someone,
that. Hold on. Delete this. I don't want my wife to see that. Okay, ready? I am so excited my wife is going to be there. I'm going to see her and it's going to make me feel better.
that's awesome. That's awesome.
No, I don't. No, in all honesty, I am a little bit nervous only because I'm new at it in general. But I feel for the weigh-ins. I mean, the weigh-ins are pretty easygoing, anyways, and it's just about kind of like playing it up and getting a good time. So I don't think I'll have too much stress there. So that's okay. I want to
Yeah.
do. I want to make her proud. You know what I mean? I want her
Yeah.
to be like, that's my husband.
She's already proud of you. You know. And
Ugh.
then,
Yeah. So, anyways, that's super exciting. So that's all the things that we're doing for friends of the podcast this week. Of course, you've got UNF 19.
UNF 19 and what, like almost, oh yeah, we're like a month and 3 days away from UNF 19, July 6th, live at the Commerce Casino in Los Angeles, California. We have tickets available still. Go to upnextfighting.com. Go get your tickets. It is the UNF mega show, UNF 19, July 6th.
I want to see if Ray the Slim Reaper Roland is on the card. He's been out for a
Ooh,
while.
yeah.
That dude, he was injured or whatnot. Let's get him back on the card. I want to see Slim Reaper back there.
He is, I think, fighting Michael Salinas.
Wait, he's booked?
I think so, because I saw it on one of the UNF posts that he is going to be back and he is fighting Michael Salinas, whom I announced at UNF 18 out here in San Bernardino, California.
I might have to get Ray Roland back on the podcast. I really like that kid. I like him a lot. I want him to do well. So, okay, good. Ray Roland, I'm happy for you, brother. What else we got going on? What else was I going to say? No, I guess that was
I was going to ask you, what did you think about Dustin Poirier's post-fight interview? How he's like, okay, I'm not sure if this is like the last for me.
I think that's the right thing. In reality, I think, he said, what am I doing this for? I was doing this to win a title. If that's now out of the picture, why am I here again?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's true. I think like now for him to get another title shot, he needs to have another 2, maybe 3 wins, because you can't lose the title so many times. I don't think fighting for the BMF
is like worth it for him.
No, like that's stupid. That's just a made up title for all reality. Like that wouldn't satisfy his hunger. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
No, I think he should retire. I like at the end of the fight when you could see his wife and his daughter there, and they're so nice and cute and whatever. And he says he has a good life. He's doing his charity. He's got a lot of things I feel outside of fighting. I feel like he should do that. Focus on the family. I mean, he's gone through wars and wars and wars. He's a legend forever. I just don't think he needs to. If he were to fight again and then lose, that would be really bad. So you know what? And again, yeah, as long as he's good for money, and he says he is, and I'm sure he made.
I think so. Yeah. I think he's all good.
Yeah.
I did like what he because I think that was the first time that his daughter actually went to a UFC event and saw him fight. So that was really special, and I love how he kind of dedicated that fight, and I think for his daughter, and how he, like in his interview, he said, "Always chase after your dreams. It's a beautiful thing," and that's him talking to his daughter. It's crazy as to how he's not just setting an example for fighters who want to pursue this as their career. If some young fighters watching this at home, looking at him, hearing his interview, like, oh my God, I want to be where he is right now. Yeah. And you listen to his interview and it's like, oh wow, one day I get to be him. And him talking to his daughter, she's probably like, oh my God, what happened to my dad? He got beat up. But wait a minute, he's happy. He looks like happy. He looks like he's fulfilled. And it's like, wow. And he's telling me to pursue my dreams. That's amazing. Because you know what my dad did? He's right up there. So I thought it was just a beautiful moment for Dustin. And, if that was his last, post-fight interview.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they, as long as his daughter's dream is nothing to do with another Dagestani, right? Like, if your dream conflicts with the Dagestani little girl, don't go after that dream, because that's a tough one. But no, I think it's nice. I think it's important for children or adults or anybody to see that you can get knocked down and keep going. You can get knocked down and still have a positive spirit. It is, I wasn't going to talk about this, I guess, but it is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And I do see a lot of posts about things about mental health. For fans of the podcast, we had a guy on a couple of times. His name was Daniel Martinez. He's the fight lawyer. He actually committed suicide last month.
Aww.
And he was a lovely man. Like, we had him on the podcast a couple times. He broke down the Cain Velasquez trial and stuff. He was a criminal defense lawyer out in Miami area. Great dude. And unfortunately, that happened. And you never know what's going on in people's lives. You never know what's happening behind the scenes. This fake Instagram bullcrap that we see of people is all fake, right? Rain and I hate one another behind the scenes. But for the purpose of the podcast, we make it look like everything's fine.
Smile all the time.
Hey, Rain, how's it going? But in reality, you never know what people's lives are like. And so it is really important. And I was so shocked and I felt so terrible. I went to my old co-host that knew him, Daniel, and I told him, and shocked, like beyond belief,
Yeah.
But that's the thing, But yeah, chasing your dreams, going after things, having a good spirit, not letting like setbacks take you down. It's all really amazing things. So, but Dustin Poirier, I think I would be happy if he retired, because you don't need to put yourself through more punishment. You're a great guy. You've made good money. You've made such a upstanding citizen of yourself. I think there's nothing more to prove, And in reality, I know this is saying this from obviously this place, but that gold belt doesn't define you, right? Like those momentary successes don't define you. It's your overall career. It's your overall personality. It's the overall person who you are. That's why when you ask me, Rain, who's my GOATs in MMA, I always take their outside of the cage personality or whatever into play, because I don't care what you just did in the cage. It's what you do overall. And I feel like Dustin's a really good dude. So yeah, I'd be happy if he retired. I don't see the need for him to come back if his heart's not fully in it, and if he doesn't have like a real goal,
Yeah. And I'm glad he took that opportunity to, do that interview and just, say what he had in mind. And there's a part of me that's like, man, this would have been a perfect opportunity for Bruce Buffer to do the "it's time"
to retire.
Yeah.
How dare you? Got something to tell you. Yeah, no. But
No. No, I just, just looking at him, I felt like I saw a man who accomplished his dream.
Yeah.
He looked fulfilled. And then he talked about his daughter a lot. And I think he found a new purpose in life, and I think that's like, be with his daughter, be that father figure that his daughter needs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think that, after, his fight with Islam, I think he's just going to sit back and think about this and probably say, you know what, it is time.
Yeah. And, and I saw behind the scenes where Dustin was speaking with Islam, and they were being very cordial with one another. And he was saying, you're a great champ and great fight, blah, blah. And they're being very nice. I do hope that there was a moment where Islam spoke to his daughter, Dustin's daughter. I really love that. I like it when the fighters, when they're respectful of one another, and when they're also respectful to the
family.
Because I think that that's very important for the daughter to see too. And because there's no real bad blood between them, I feel like that would be a really important message for that little girl to see too. Like, yeah, my daddy just fought this guy, but this is a sport. right? And it's okay. And at the end, we can be friends and everything. So it's not that you're just witnessing violence, right? You
Yeah.
truly are witnessing a sport. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I know we talked about earlier how the main event shouldn't, be eligible for fight
Yeah.
of the night or performance of the night. But man, I remember watching Islam versus Dustin, and I was like, man, I felt like I was watching a movie, especially, because it's like, how you could hear like the crowd cheering, right? Whenever Dustin would get back up, I
Yeah.
just feel like the crowd cheering. So it's like, I just thought it was like a scene from a movie, right? When
Well,
it's
then
like,
that's another thing though that goes into the bias of those awards too, is that the crowd is so invested in
mm,
it as well that the crowd pumps it up more than I think what that fight actually was.
mm,
In reality, I thought that fight wasn't the greatest.
mm, mm.
Dustin really I don't know. If I'm the next time I'm fighting a Dagestani, right? What I will do, Rain, is I'm going to focus all on uppercuts straight down the middle and knees up the middle. You can't see it, but I just throw a beautiful knee. But because he's going to come in, right? And I'm not a coach and I'm not whatever, but I just think I would have liked to see more short uppercuts kind of being thrown, just so that the second he kind of comes in, maybe you catch him with something.
Okay.
I don't feel like, I don't know, Dustin's game plan seemed weird to me. He was incredible, but I didn't see what his path to victory was in that fight. He was looking for, to connect on a good shot or something, but it didn't seem like he had, I don't know. But anyway.
No, like for me, just like that, like the visual of like him getting up and hearing the crowd, right? To me, it was like, oh my God, this is like a movie. But again, like I thought there was like a fight that deserved the fight of the night instead. So
Exactly.
but
Yeah, Basil and Mickey's scrambles were crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like the scrambles were amazing and the fights were incredible. So yeah, I mean, I think there was that for sure. But anyways, let's get off UFC 302, but we will segue a little bit because obviously Dustin Poirier, his main nemesis, Conor McGregor, supposed to fight next month, right? UFC 303, McGregor versus Chandler, which good old Timmy B has predicted is never ever going to happen. But they booked it. And then did you see what happened last night / today?
The press conference got canceled.
Breaking news! UFC 303 Dublin press conference postponed until further notice. It's not postponed for a week. It's not postponed until tomorrow. Until further notice. You have a whole bunch of people. You have a venue. You have everything getting ready. This isn't dinky PFL where they have 0 fans for a press conference. This was going to be a real press conference with people there screaming and cheering. There's a whole bunch of Irish people that took time off from the bar to go watch the press conference. Instead of getting drunk in the bar, they were going to get drunk at the press conference. They were ready to go.
Well, now they have another reason to get drunk again.
What? What's the other reason?
Because the press conference got canceled.
Oh, okay. It's sad, like a wake kind of thing. So the title of this segment, Rain, that darn sugar booger. No, booger sugar? What's it called? How do you say cocaine? Booger sugar.
I have no idea.
It's the white powder, man. Conor McGregor. Okay, Rain, when you hear that this thing is canceled, obviously Conor is high as a kite. What's your take on it?
No, I honestly, for me, I was like, oh God. And I thought maybe there's something wrong with production or something wrong with like maybe Dana White can make it, to the event, or the fighters can make it to the event. But yeah, something not fishy. I don't know if I don't know. I'm not assuming or thinking that there is something fishy. To me, it's like, well, they said until further notice. Okay, cool. Then I'll wait.
No. Rain, you have a press conference meant to sell your pay-per-view. You have all the fighters getting on the plane to go halfway across the world. Michael Chandler found the news out as he was at the airport or the morning that he was going to get on the flight. So thank God he didn't waste his time. But there's hotels booked, there's accommodations, think about all the UFC staff, the materials, the blah blah blah, printing out the freaking posters and the marketing budget. You're not canceling this for no serious reason.
Well, yeah. So there's got to be like a big reason why it happened. God, I can only imagine the amount of money that UFC lost because this press conference didn't happen. Conor actually tweeted about it. So
what did he tweet?
I just saw this tweet from Conor. Do you want me to read it? I can read it. Okay.
Yeah.
It says, in consultation with the UFC, today's press conference was canceled due to a series of obstacles outside of our control. I apologize to my Irish fans and fans around the world, including Team AB, for the inconvenience and appreciate all your passion and support. I can't wait to put on the greatest all-time show in the Octagon. That was posted today, Monday, June 3rd at 12:42 Pacific Standard Time.
I admit it's nice that he shouted me out. Did he actually do that?
Yes, he did. Like you can. I'm gonna take. Oh wait, no, he just deleted it.
Oh. I mean, I like that. I appreciate that, Conor. No, okay. And I also realized I said sugar booger. It's booger sugar. So that darn booger sugar. I have a lot of editing to do this podcast, right? And spoiler alert, I will not be editing anything. So that darn booger sugar. No, Rain, that's a lie. First of all, Conor didn't write that tweet as well. His people wrote it.
I came from his account.
No, I know. But like his people wrote it. Look, it's his fault. This event is
think so?
Rain, it's not like they said, hey, Bruce Buffer couldn't come or John Anik couldn't come to host it. Who at all could have that event canceled? Nobody but Conor. Right? Michael Chandler could show up over Zoom and they would have ran the stupid event. Like the only person they care about for this thing is Conor. So big, massive question marks. Ariel Helwani was posting on or was talking on his show today saying, I can confirm that there's nothing blah, 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 nothing salacious and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, dude, nothing is salacious until the salacious thing comes out. That's how salacious stories work. You know what I mean? Like,
but that's the thing. Like for me, it's like I don't want to speculate anything because
this is all about lies, innuendos. Like, no, that's what we do here. We just no. It's the booger sugar. This is what we're talking about. You know? No. It's Conor 1,000,000%. I can segue into something else again because we have no guest today because our guest has totally ghosted us. Frickin' hell. Let me just check again in case he's messaged. Nope. Good.
He lives where close to where I work, so maybe I'll go find him myself.
Yeah.
Knock on his door.
Yeah,
hey.
And the good thing is he's a bare knuckle fighter, so you don't even have to put on gloves to punch him in the face. You just knuckle up.
Perfect. I'm ready.
Yeah. Like I will never have felt a softer punch in his life. No, what was I going to say? So Ariel Helwani talking about the thing. Here's the thing, Rain. So obviously people online are going to say, well, Conor's popping for something. He's got some sort of drug or, performance enhancing substance, blah, 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 right? Like maybe that's what the hell's happening. It's got to be something.
It's definitely something, something really big for them to cancel.
Did he throw another woman off a yacht?
Oh God.
That would happen.
I mean, hopefully the fight would still happen.
Even if he threw off a boat?
No, for me, maybe there's just, something, I feel like there's something behind the scenes that needs to be squared away. And then after that, we can do the press conference again. And, we'll proceed with UFC 303. I mean, I heard how excited Dana White was when he said, he's going to fly to Ireland right away after UFC 302. So I think UFC is all about making this fight happen no matter what. So, I mean, there's still time. Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. There's something going on. So now, Rain, if you had to bet, you think 303 is still going ahead with Conor as the main event?
I think so.
Oh boy, it's got to be going less and less. The odds of that happening.
Okay.
You're a month out. There were already a lot of issues because I think, was it on the weekend he had posted photos of him partying or whatever, and so people were making comments, that Chandler's out there kicking ass, training and training 17 times a day, and then there's Conor partying. Now, mind you, you can go and party all you want as long as you're still training at some point during the day or doing whatever the hell you got to do. But it's very interesting, and if you have a bookie to place a bet now, I think you're betting on that he's not showing up.
All right, I have a question for you now. Which one do you think will likely actually happen? Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor, or Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul?
I think the greater chance right now is that we see Jake Paul versus Michael Chandler in a cross-promotional fight to save both. We're going to have UFC 303 on Netflix. Jake Paul versus Michael Chandler, the fight nobody ever wanted, happens live on Netflix. The greatest thing ever. Rain,
clip this off, post this, because guess what? If or when this happens, you called it right here, Fight Insight Podcast.
We know that WWE has already struck a deal to have Raw air live on Netflix in 2025, right? So we know there's a connection there already. Now all you do is you move UFC 303 into Netflix. Jake Paul's already trained. It can be a boxing fight. It will be a boxing fight in the cage, right? Because obviously Jake Paul's not going to suddenly fight MMA. But can you hear my cat squealing? No?
No.
He was just running around yelling. I've lost my train of thought. I was so excited. Michael Chandler versus Jake Paul in boxing gloves, but in the UFC cage for the main event of UFC 303, a massive who would have thunk it event. All thanks to the booger sugar that canceled everything. Rain.
Not get canceled. It's just a press conference.
Fucking fighting. Mike Tyson, give that up. That's so nonsense. The guy's literally dying on a plane. Never going to happen. Never.
You don't think so?
They were pumping Mike Tyson full of so much juice to get him to film those goddamn Instagram stories to make him look dangerous. No. I don't think that fight's ever happening. No way. And I think Jake Paul really has to be scared now, or nervous now too, because if you were to ever rebook this fight, what if this happens again? This guy's on borrowed time as well. Like, he's got to strike while the iron is hot in terms of his popularity and in terms of his public. You got to move on to the next thing, and you got to fight someone else. You got to move on. Man, you can't keep rebooking the Tyson thing.
Yeah. Now what? He's just like waiting. Okay, we rescheduled it to this date. Okay, I'm gonna wait. And then oh God, it didn't happen again. Now I'm just not fighting. I'm training for what now?
Yeah. No. Yeah. You can't. I think that fight's long gone. So if I had to pick between the two, I'm going to say Conor versus Chandler happens at one point. But I've gone on the record saying I never thought that fight was going to happen ever anyway. So
I think that's going to happen still.
At UFC 303?
I think so.
No. I don't know. I wouldn't bet on it. I would not bet on it, Rain. And this is coming from a guy who just made a lot of money on our Fight Insight bet, my parlay bet. All right, what else do we got for today? We're doing pretty good on time. We're not too slow or low here.
No. I think we're giving our guest some time just in case he decides to show up.
Yeah, I mean, now if he shows up, we can interview him for 5 minutes. That'd be great. By the time you learn the intro, we'll boot him out.
You know what we should do? We should probably have a segment called Phone a Fighter.
Yeah, we just call random.
Do that people. Actually, yeah, just call random fighters.
I just don't know. We did it before on a podcast long ago where our guest ghosted us, and then I just started messaging out random fighters to see who would come, and Sam Alvey came on.
Smiling Sam. Oh man.
So that was pretty funny. Let's see what else we got. No, I think that's it, Rain. I think that's it. I mean, I'm very excited to go to my Fight League Atlantic.
That's awesome.
I'm very excited to see my friends that are there, out on beautiful East Coast Canada. I'm excited that Hunter Savage is fighting. I'm excited that we get to see Sam Rhino.
His professional debut, right?
His professional debut against a guy, Rain, that I really do like as well. His name is Juan Pablo Lerma Lopez. He's from Nayarit, Mexico. Moved to Toronto to train. Now he's actually moving out and training with Hunter Savage in New Brunswick. He's been there for a while. He's going to be training there, I think, for the remainder of the year. Then he goes back to Mexico. Then he told me he's going to come back to Moncton, New Brunswick again to keep training with those guys there at GF Team Moncton. So he's a really nice kid, Rain. The first time I saw him was last event where he was fighting. Such a pleasant guy. He was just so happy, so excited with the whole experience, like with the lights, the big arena. It was amazing. And he was just a guy that was really soaking it all up. So I really like that about him. And I'm excited to see him fight. I hate knowing people, though, because now when I have to commentate the fight and one of these guys has to lose, it's very tough for me. I will say that's the hardest part about commentating is when or like one or both of the fighters. It's so difficult to keep your impartiality and to try to give both people the shine. But I'll do my best. And but I just want these guys to have an amazing fight and to be applauded and to gain fans and to have a great experience, right? Like it's just so cool. So yeah.
And I do think that they really appreciate your efforts as a commentator when you ask them questions, when you do your research, and fighters, to all of you who are listening to us right now, anytime like a commentator or a ring announcer approaches you guys, man, just know we're just doing our jobs and this is all for you guys. So any information you can give us that would always help us help you.
Yeah, definitely. We've talked about that before. And, I think almost out of the 22 fighters, I think pretty much all of them have gotten back to me. I think there's maybe one guy that's just been a little bit hard to get a hold of.
Okay.
But aside from that, everyone's been really cool and told me fantastic stories. There's one guy, Rain, that his name is Chris Beck. And I'm speaking to this guy, and I don't know him. And I'm speaking to him. I'm like, what's your nickname? And he's like, it's the Punisher. I'm like, oh, like from the Marvel comics, He's like, yeah, the Punisher. I like Frank Castle. I like that whole thing. But I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I'm watching something and a clip comes out and it goes, Superman, Chris Beck. And I'm like, is your nickname Superman or Punisher? And then I message him and he's like, oh, either one is good. I'm like, what? So I don't know what I'm going to call him, but maybe it depends on whether, he's a more Marvel or DC fan. But yeah, so, funny things like that, learning their nicknames.
Yeah.
One guy's nickname his name is Jesse Opper. And I said, what's your nickname? And he goes, I like to go by the Opper Whopper.
Opper Whopper. Oh my God. I love that.
Yeah, Opper Whopper is good. What are some of the other nicknames? Yeah, like good nicknames for some of these fighters. But just the event as a whole is so amazing. And very, very excited and happy to be a part of it one more time. I'm going to collect another badge, collect another staff badge. So I'm excited. And that's
this
it.
This is your what, like third, fourth, or fifth event?
Fifth event.
Nice.
Five-time event. Yep. So I'm very excited. And next week on the show, we've already recorded it. We have 2 guests. It's our Father's Day episode. We've never done a Father's Day episode before. But this episode, very wholesome, I will say.
Mm-hmm. And inspirational.
Inspirational. It would help if you love Jesus. I'm going to say that. Because it is a little bit religious-y, which is fine, which is good, right? I think it's important for people to be able to be strong in their faith and be strong in their beliefs. But this guest, very strong in that. His nickname is the Minister, Joe A. Martinez. He is the announcer for boxing. He did the recent Garcia boxing event. He does all the boxing events He does the UFC. He does Invicta. But Joe A. Martinez is on the show. And then we have a man that you knew and brought to us, Rain, which was from Fight Night Customs. He does shirts and a whole bunch of stuff for the fighters.
Yep.
He has an incredible story himself. And his name, Rain,
is Jose Rubio. He is
Rubio.
Yeah.
Great guy. It's a long episode, so buckle in.
So if you're driving somewhere to go see your dad, go play that episode. It is very inspirational. And, I think, like I said earlier, whether you're religious or not, I think it's, this episode, it's just very inspiring.
Yes. Yeah. And to see how people think, right? Like I always find it interesting to see how people think, to see how people react to things and situations. Definitely his love for his wife is something that came across.
That is beautiful. Mm-hmm.
Interview, right? Mm-hmm. I wonder if he gets freaked out when she's in the crowd. I
don't think so.
No, Joe's a consummate professional.
Yeah, he's a pro.
All right. Well, anything that you want to say before we get out of here, Rain?
I just thought you were asking me earlier about, if I was nervous, or no, you said that you might be nervous because your wife's going during the weigh-ins. And I was like, why? Is it because you're going to be standing right next to like a shirtless guy?
Wait,
and you're like
jealous?
Yeah, you're like nervous of like, is my wife staring at me or like the shirtless guy?
These bastards.
Honestly, the reason why I said that was because like for me, sometimes like with my husband, it's like, he goes to these events and I'll have like fighters shirtless, right? Just like giving me a hug, right? And I see my husband up there and it's like, I hope he doesn't get jealous. But, I think
jealous, you shouldn't be like holding on to that hug so long.
No. But I think it's beautiful when you have someone who, supports you and anything that you do, like especially for something like this that we do, it's like, people see us and, you don't know who's going to come up to you and talk to you. And, I feel like if you have like a jealous partner, then it's kind of like hard to kind of like, hey, I'm just doing my job. I'm not like,
well, I like how you tried to spin this, but you started this by saying, "Is my wife going to be upset because she's going to see my flabby ass?"
No, you said you're nervous. I was like, in my head, wait, are you nervous? Because
not about that, Rain. I'll take out any of these fighters. No, I think, no.
What, now you can do the weigh-ins like shirtless too, or what?
Maybe I should. I'm gonna ask Eric if I can.
Just like rip your shirt.
Yeah, I am. You know what I'm gonna do this time though? I normally wear like my FLA t-shirt and then a blazer on top. No more. I find that the blazer covers too much of
the logo. Yeah.
So I think I'm just gonna wear the FLA hoodie and do it a little bit more casual.
Yeah. What I noticed with like weigh-ins, it's like very casual anyway.
Yeah, it's different, but I think I'm gonna more brand it out with the hoodie.
Yeah,
so
because I think when Shmo does our weigh-ins, he usually wears like UNF branding, like UNF shirts or UNF collared shirts.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, but he always wears a suit
for the event. But the weigh-ins are very casual.
Well, I'm gonna take a page out of the Shmo's book. Hey, Rain, I'm gonna do. Wait, we get like this. That's my Schmo impression.
You're already wearing glasses, so
yeah, I'm just gonna get a highlighter and yellow them up. And then, hey, Rain. Okay, I think that's it. We have made fun of enough people on the show. Oh, you know who I'm going to give a shout out to, Rain? There's a fighter on the card for Fight League Atlantic. Again, they're all wonderful people, but I've said a few. Cody the Harbinger O'Halloran. This kid, I wanted to have him on the podcast, but he was on the Fight League Atlantic podcast, so I didn't want to like bother him with time and stuff. I really like this kid. This kid's such a good kid too. Very much like a Hunter Savage. Just such a nice, polite kid. He's from Newfoundland, from Paradise, Newfoundland. And great kid. I really like this guy. I like his coach. I had breakfast with them a couple of events ago, Ben Crane. Really good people out of Rogue MMA in Newfoundland. My mom is from Newfoundland, so there I have a little bit of like a soft spot for Newfoundland. Newfoundland is a province in the very, very east of Canada. And that's a kid I'm very looking forward to him too. So Cody, the Harbinger, O'Halloran, I do want to see him fight all these guys. Boy, oh boy, I'm excited. I'm pumped for this event. Super pumped.
That's awesome.
Yeah, of course, now I'm going to keep thinking that these guys have better bodies than me, as you pointed out. All right, that is it. We are out of here. Thank you so much. I'm sorry that we did not have a guest.
It's okay. It happens.
Rain's going to go nuts.
Any fighter who's listening to us right now, if you want to be on the show, call us. Send us a message on Instagram at Fight and Sight Podcast. We're always good luck to fighters, just so you know.
Yeah.
They always win.
If you want to win,
Fight and Sight Podcast before their fights.
If you want to win, get your ass on this show. It's science.
We've proven it so many times. We have a bunch of friends of the podcast that have won their fights after they did an interview with us.
Yep. Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Rain, that's it. We're out of here. Thank you so much. We still managed to have a great podcast and talk.
I know.
I hope people enjoy it. There's always stuff to talk about in the world of mixed martial arts. So that's what's great. There were so many topics too that we didn't get to. But anyways, Rain, goodbye.
Bye.